There is plenty of information out there on how to set goals. There is plenty of information on how to get your goals, but why do most of us struggle? It's not the fact that maybe we don't have the information, maybe we don't understand how to connect it all together, maybe we need necessity, accountability, whatever it is. That's what we're going to talk about.
Kev asked me, what's your takeaway for this episode? My takeaway right up front here, I think that we underestimate, number one, the importance of setting goals, and number two, it's actually a process that has to be done over and over and over again. You have to set and reset goals. It's not a destination, even though it seems like it is.
Next Level Nation, today for episode number 2050, what most people don't get about setting goals. I was not intending on telling the story, Alan, but I remember very, very, very early in my coaching career, I had a client who wanted to be a personal trainer. And I said, I was a personal trainer. This is what I would suggest. This is the organization I would suggest. Let me know how I can help.
NASM,
National Academy of Sports Medicine, even though it's not that. So I don't know how they can even legally say sports medicine. I don't think that's what it is, really. But sounds good. Sounds really good. I remember saying, I said, well, what can I do to help? How can I help you? How can my coaching help you become a personal trainer? And they said, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be impossible for me to study this whole book and then take the test. I said, all right, cool. Let's figure out a date. So I said, when's the latest you can take the test? They said, oh, you have 6 months, I think, from the time you buy the book. I said, all right, cool. You think you're going to need all 6 months? No, I think I probably need like 4 months. It's like, all right, cool. What's 4 months from today? All right, that's our goal. Cool. Now let's work backwards. So let's say we have 120 days. Awesome. The book is 480 pages. Awesome. You need to read 4 pages a day, and you'll get through this entire book. Obviously, we want to do it a little bit faster than that, so why don't we plan on reading 10 pages a day? You'll get done on this date, and then you'll have all this time to study your flashcards and review, and boom, 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 boom. Here's why it's so challenging. Setting the goal of becoming a personal trainer is not necessarily the hard part. Becoming the personal trainer it's going to require you to adopt a bunch of habits, work on a bunch of skills that you haven't acquired yet, have some level of the understanding of time. So I think from my perspective, one of the most challenging things about setting goals is the goal is just a bunch of things added up. It's not just one thing. You don't just become a personal trainer. You study, and then you make flashcards, and then you have the right websites you go to, and you have all this other stuff. You have accountability. I think that's one thing that most people don't get about it.
I want to ask Kev about this. First, I'll read some stats. I did a presentation for Toastmasters last week, and I did the deep research function on ChatGPT about goal setting, and I went through a lot of the data. And 3 stats that I pulled up for my presentation was this. Statistic number 1. Little picture of goal setting notebook. Only 3% of people have clear written goals for their future. Statistic number 2. 13% have goals but not in writing and often lack follow-through. Statistic number 3. The remaining 84% have no specific goals at all. One of the reasons I want to ask you about this is because all of us are weird in things. All of us are different in certain things. When I was a kid, I was always goal-oriented. I always had a goal, whether it was a video game or a certain academic goal to go to this college, to do this thing, to become an engineer, whatever it was. I was always goal-oriented. So I don't know if I'm the best person to answer this, and I'll definitely give my take. But I want to understand from you, as someone who didn't really have goals early on, or maybe you did, but they were maybe not that clear, or way in the future, you think it would just work out. Can you describe what it was like to live life without goals? Because, okay, as pretentious as this is going to come off, I actually don't have any idea what it's like to not have goals. I've never not had goals.
It was easier. For sure. Alan and I always have these conversations behind the scenes because it was like, it was normal because I didn't ever have goals. I never set goals. So I didn't feel like I was lacking anything other than results. It wasn't like, if you said, what's the biggest issue, Kev? It would never have been that I didn't have goals because I didn't know how important goal setting was. I didn't set a goal to hit a certain weight for the way I looked. I wanted to look better.
Did you set a goal for bench press or squat or anything?
Nope. No, it was, I want to do better than I'm doing.
I figured this just came to me. And production team, if you can do anything about my throat, I keep coughing. And if you can't do anything about it, listeners, I'm sorry. I'm doing my best here. But this just came to me. What people want is a byproduct of goals. I really want to try to explain this. If you want financial freedom, that's not a goal. Financial freedom is a byproduct of a bigger goal. Let me explain. If you want to build an investment nest egg of $1 million in your lifetime, which is mathematically doable for, I'm not even kidding, most people, assuming you start now and do it long term, and I can break the numbers down, then financial freedom is a byproduct. And I don't think this is explained well, but if you take 8% of 1 million, that's $80,000 a year. So it grows by 8% and you can siphon that off. So now you don't have to work. Now you make $80,000 a year without doing anything. So financial freedom is when your living expenses are lower than that $80,000. So eventually you get to a place where you don't have to work anymore. But the only way you do that is by working and putting away money in an investment portfolio that eventually yields an average of 8% year over year. So financial freedom is not a goal. It's a byproduct of a goal. Just like laughter. I tried to explain this before. Laughter is a byproduct of a great joke. You don't say, hey, Kev, laugh at my joke. That's dumb. Fulfillment and fun and laughter are a byproduct of a goal. If the goal for a comedian is to get the place laughing, they have to go work on their craft and perfect joke after joke after joke after joke. And if their goal is to become a successful comedian, and that's why I think it's so wonky, is because you don't just have to reverse engineer the finish line. So she wants to be a personal trainer. Okay. Boom. That means you need to get certified. Okay. Boom. NASM. Boom. Test. 4 months out. Okay. Break it down. 10 pages a day. But what's the goal of the goal? Just be a personal trainer? Does she have a goal for number of clients? Does she have a goal for financial freedom? It's just to be a personal trainer. Where does that even come from? And
That's the start. That's where it starts. I think it's really, I don't think you can really set a goal beyond your awareness.
I mean, you can, but it's...
How, though?
But everyone's setting a goal beyond their awareness. Like, when you decided you wanted to be a podcaster, you had no idea what it would be like to be a podcaster. Yeah,
but I had an awareness of what a podcast was. I never said I wanted to make money with it in the beginning, because I didn't know...
By that rationale, no one would ever invent anything new.
People that invent stuff are people with super high self-belief. I would go, that is a hill I'm willing to die on.
Okay, what comes up for you when I say just because it's never been done doesn't mean it can't be?
That's not the way I think. That's a high self-belief thing, brother. Who created the fucking light bulb and they had to fail 10,000 times?
Edison.
You think I'm failing, Sir Edison? You think I'm out here failing 10,000 times?
We've failed 2,000 times, for sure.
Yeah, I know, but it's different.
Why? It's the exact same process.
I'm not trying to build a thing.
We are building a thing.
I know, but this
podcast has never existed.
I know, but it's not a thing. Like, there will be no final form.
But Next Level Live 2025, that presentation will never exist again in that form. And that was the accumulated compound effect of 8 years.
But that wasn't the goal. The goal was the light bulb.
No, or maybe it wasn't.
Well, then why make a light bulb? What was the goal of the goal of the goal? To bring light to accessible light?
To replace... The goal was to solve the problem of people's houses burning down because there's candles all over the place. I'm obviously joking. You ever see an old period piece movie where there's candles everywhere and it's, how did you guys not...
You think I'm out here watching...
Period piece?
Gone with the Wind. You got me.
A period piece means... I mean, even if you watch You watch old movies. What's the one you want me to see?
It's not the one I want you to see. Based on the last episode, it's the one you need to see. It's called It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay, that's a period piece.
I suppose it is.
Okay. Anyways, the point is, if you ever see a movie that was historically placed in a time before electricity, the goal was to solve the fact that we were killing whales for lamp oil. There's always a problem. Inventions are a byproduct of solving a problem.
Yeah,
always.
but think of the amount of self-belief it takes to be that person.
Doesn't land at all.
Okay, cool. Got you. The NASM certification, National Academy of Sports Medicine. I believe it has a 75% failure rate.
Okay.
All the people that set that as a goal, 75 out of 100 of them do not accomplish the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Would it serve them if they were thinking of how many clients they wanted to have, or they wanted financial freedom through personal training? I don't know. I don't think it helps you pass the test. But I think you've got to get through a checkpoint to see the next. Like, I know we can get to 4,000 episodes, but I didn't think we'd get to 2,000 in the beginning. I wasn't even aware of how much would have to change.
It was always possible. You do know that. You just couldn't see it.
Yes.
Okay, it was always possible.
Yes, but I wasn't aware.
I see you. Kevin and I we always do this self-belief discussions. We do several episodes several times. Hello, NLU listener. Thank you, as always, for listening to Next Level University. Real quick, I just want to jump in and let you know about the Next Level Dreamliner. This is a journal that I use every single day. Achieve your dreams 90 days at a time. It breaks down your dreams into goals, milestones, and daily habits. We hope you enjoy it. The link will be in the show notes. So the goal of the goal. I think everyone's goal of a goal is to feel better about themselves. I'm not even kidding. This is going to be a bold statement, but I've been mentoring for 10 years, coaching for 8. Everyone really just wants self-belief and self-worth and self-esteem and self-confidence. That's the goal of every goal.
And significance.
You have higher, yeah, of course. You have higher self-esteem, self-confidence, self-belief, self-worth, and self-respect. Why? Because the goal forced you to grow into a man that you actually respect. Like, the goal is never to get the goal. It's never actually to get the goal. Who cares about the goal? Like, these trophies don't mean anything. It's who I had to become to achieve them that matters. Okay. The trophies don't make me feel good.
Well, somebody would say, why are they there then?
Because it shows that I have credibility.
Okay, fair.
All these awards are for credibility because I look 15.
I threw when I moved, I threw my trophies out.
I also believe in accomplishment. I believe in goals. I believe that they mean something to me. I'll also give you that. But let's be real. No older businessman wants to learn from someone who looks 12. I have to show credibility. That's why these certifications and degrees and all that exist.
Well, it's part of the goal.
There's a lot of really successful people who don't have a degree. Right? Yeah. What's the goal? Okay, what's the goal of the goal? I got my bachelor's degree in computer engineering. My goal wasn't to just be a computer engineer. My goal was to have a successful life.
Yeah, but you say it like it's that's not common. It's not a common... I saw a stat the other day. I'm 99.9% of the stats you see on the internet are not real, but it was something along the lines of 74% or something. And again, don't quote me on this because I'm literally saying it's probably incorrect. 74% of people never use the degree that they get.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
So,
and again, these are all built on studies, and the studies are either credible or not, right? Even the ChatGPT research, like I looked through different studies. That was
let's say it was 50% though. Let's say 50. Let's say it's even 25%.
But that's my point. That actually proves my point. There's no point. Getting a degree is learning how to learn. It's not to actually do the thing.
I know, but I think it also is my point of that's where it starts though. 25% of people did not do it because they knew exactly what they wanted to do after.
This is why it's so hard. It makes perfect sense.
It is.
No one has any clue. When you're a kid, no one has any clue about anything. You want to be an astronaut, but you have no idea what that's going to be like. And then you get into space, you're like, fuck this. Right? So
I can't even imagine.
At the end of the day, this is actually side tangent here, quick. Conversations Change Lives is the YouTube channel. Was going to be a podcast that I had Kevin on. Mm-hmm. And that's when we sort of teamed up, and He had the Hyperconscious podcast. I had Conversations Change Lives. He was my first guest. I was his first guest. You want to know the point of that podcast back in the day? I wanted everyone to be a fly on the wall. I wanted to interview an engineer and say, hey, what's your life actually like versus what you thought it was going to be? I wanted to interview a nurse and say, hey, what's your life actually going to be like versus what you thought it was going to be? Because I had a girlfriend in the past who wanted to be a nurse. That was her dream. And she ended up a nurse per diem at multiple hospitals, ER. I mean, she did it all. I was proud of her. She's like, this is fucking terrible. If you had known that, you probably wouldn't have put in all that money and effort to something that ends up being, and again, it's not all terrible, but it was way worse than she thought. I remember I wanted to go to the hospital and punch some patients because they were being so disrespectful to her. Like they were calling her all kinds of names and stuff. And of course I would, it is what it is. But that's a travesty to invest a decade of your life to something you don't even want. But you don't know that until later. What if she had listened to a podcast where a nurse was interviewed and I asked, hey, what did you think it was going to be like versus what it's actually like? That's why I'm always the weirdo guy at the high schools saying, hey, by the way, we went to a career day once for podcasters. Hey, by the way, you need to know what's beneath this iceberg because you're going to go try to be a podcaster and you shouldn't. It's fucking terrible. But you don't know that. Yeah, but, and again, it's not all terrible, obviously. But I feel like that's my calling.
We know that most of them aren't going to do it anyway.
That doesn't change the fact that, you can be anything you want in the world. You got to pick wisely.
I agree.
And you can't pick wisely without awareness. And everyone's making it seem like their thing is the best thing ever.
Yes.
And you and I don't do that, which is one of the fucking challenges we have.
It's definitely a piece of it. I think you and I are always not on different pages with this. I think we're on different different sides of the same page.
Don't you wish you knew what this was going to be like?
I wouldn't have done it. No.
That's my point.
No, but I'm glad I didn't know. Because now I have all the No, I don't.
I still would have done it. For sure.
I'm sure I
did know. This is a little worse than I thought, for sure. But
yeah, I don't know if I
still would have done it.
I don't know if I would have. So no, I don't, because I'm glad I did.
That's
but
why.
It wasn't. For me, it always goes back to if you said, hey, I need you to do a podcast, and eventually you guys are going to do an episode every day. And honestly, it's not going to be that hard. To do an episode every day. Again, with everything else, it's nearly impossible. But just 7 episodes wouldn't be that much of a challenge at this point.
See how hard it is to explain?
At this point.
It's so hard to explain.
Then, I also want you to know that there's going to be several times in this journey where you're not only doing 7 podcasts for you, by the way, you have another podcast too. So you do 8 episodes a week for 2 podcasts. But then at some point, you're going to go on 20 other shows for back-to-back weeks. So you'll probably do I don't know, almost a couple hundred podcasts in 1 month. Okay, cool. Thanks. No, that's not going to ever happen. Look at me. I can't even put a sentence together. I think that's why. Yeah. I don't know, man.
When we go give speeches at high schools, do you know that I'm overdoing it?
Always.
Okay.
Yeah, man, always.
All right.
But you love it.
There's one person who loves it.
There's always one. But you love it. You love it. And that's, I think, to your point, that's who you're supposed to be. And I don't think I'm supposed to be that guy.
Right? I'm supposed to dial it down a little.
Maybe.
But I do think people need to reveal more than what's true. More than what most people do.
Yeah,
I think people are dialing down too much. I genuinely, for me, people didn't tell me. No one told me what being an engineer was going to be like until I'm sitting behind a desk designing circuits.
That's fair.
And I'm grateful that I did it, don't get me wrong, but I could have done anything else. Esports, if you had known esports, video gamers, talk about an industry where you can win globally. Holy shit, look at the stats. If I will be brief about this.
Yeah, we do have to hop in 2 minutes.
I know. I had one of my best friends growing up. We played, Halo 1 and Halo 2. We were, Halo 1 in particular, we were one of the top 2v2s in the freaking world. I'm not saying that it's true. Facts, okay? This is before the internet. This is when you had to connect to your computer through something called Xbox Connect before Xbox Live was even a thing. We were one of the best 2v2 teams in the world. And we went to tournaments and we would crush it. And there's a guy named McGaver or whatever who went down and blah, blah, blah. His parents wouldn't let him play because they thought you need to get outside and you need to get a career and you need to get a job. And I was like, no, you don't. You need to play. We can make millions doing this, But his parents had no idea. They were like, what do you mean? You need to go get a job. And I was like, no, we don't. We can be, there are people making tons of money doing this. Like, we can win. But his parents were ignorant. His parents couldn't see the future. They couldn't see esports as a thing. They had no idea that online gaming was going to be so big. And those people that we used to play with, some of them are multi-millionaires from playing video games.
Yeah.
So ignorance, it bothers me so much because he easily could have been one of the best in the world if he was allowed to play, but he wasn't allowed to. Instead, he was flipping burgers at some, and there's nothing wrong with flipping burgers. That's not what I'm saying. But they had him working a dead-end job instead of actually doing something that had a very promising future out of their own ignorance. And so at the end of the day, I think I owe it to the people to share the truth of what's possible for you and what comes with it. So if you have a goal and you want to set a goal, I'm going to help you understand like what goal is doable. Here's the process. You need to want both. You got to understand the pros and cons of both so that you don't, I mean, how many people have midlife crises going, what the hell happened? Like, I married someone I shouldn't have married. I'm in a career I shouldn't have been in. Like, I wish I knew. Well, we could have taught people things. I feel like we can teach people things. That's why I say, and that's why Kevin doesn't like to speak at high schools with me, because I'm basically saying, hey, what I wish someone told me was...
Oh, I don't mind it from that part. I mind it because most of the kids are taller than I am, and it just makes me insecure. And that's real. I'm not kidding. These kids, I don't know what the hell they're feeding these kids, but they are giants.
What's your takeaway?
My takeaway is I think goal setting is really hard. And... that's my takeaway. It's hard as shit because you have to factor in so many things. You have to factor in your self-belief. You have to factor in your history of setting goals. You have to factor in what we're going to talk about tomorrow, community. You have to factor in so many things. It's almost like you set a goal and then you should give yourself 5 reasons why you can do it and the 5 reasons why you couldn't do it, and mitigate the couldn'ts and lean into the coulds. That would be mine. Boom. All right.
My next level lesson?
Yeah, I thought you just gave your next level lesson.
I'm going to
You can't give 2 next level lessons?
Make it concise, real quick. Concise. What's the goal of the goal? I want to be X. What's the real goal for why you want that? And I think deep down what you really want is self-belief and self-worth and self-respect. I think you want to feel good about you. And maybe there's a better path.
And that's why setting an appropriate goal is so important, because you do not get self-belief if you set it in a misaligned goal.
Agreed.
Then you just get shame cycle. It's a whole freaking thing. Okay. If one of your goals is to read more books, next level books with next level people, every single Saturday, 12:30 Eastern time, Alan runs the Next Level U book club. They're reading Reset by Dan Heath. You do not have to have read the book. You don't have to participate. It is like a mastermind. It's a deep talk session.
Call it a brainstorm.
Call it a brainstorm. That's what that is. And then if you're looking for a different community, we have a private Facebook group called Next Level Nation. So if that is one of your goals to get around more like-minded people, we'll have the link in the show notes for that. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Stay next level. Next Level Nation.